are in a historical moment in which we really need to broaden our international vision of the world. Shoot Your Film in Granada is the most innovative and international education program where the students get to understand different cultures in a much deeper and active way, learning filmmaking to see the world with a more subtle perspective in which communication and languages, either Spanish or English, are involved. We are shooting a documentary in Granada with the students. During 8 centuries, Muslims, Christians and Jews coexisted and developed the most advanced country in Europe in most fields: science, mathematics, philosophy, urbanism, agriculture, and Granada was the last capital of that kingdom, a magnificent city full of astonishing buildings, mysterious history, and poetic old neighborhoods.
Welcome to the city of Granada. You probably know that Granada is the most beautiful city in Spain and that the Palatine city of the Alhambra, together with the Taj Mahal and the Mosque of Córdoba, is one of the 3 main Islamic buildings in the world nowadays. But what you probably don't know is that Spain was under Muslim dominance for 8 centuries, from the year 711 to 1492, the same year that America was discovered by Columbus.
Al-Andalus and the Kingdom of Granada were the most advanced countries in Europe. Science, mathematics, philosophy and poetry were highly developed and cultivated between their sultans. On top of that, one of the most intense and deepest popular music traditions, the flamenco dances and songs from the gypsies, were developed in Andalusia. Inspire your students coming to one of the most mysterious and meaningful cities in the world, Granada. Don't miss it. We begin the first day by visiting the Alhambra, the Palatine city, the view of which caused the American ex-president, Bill Clinton, to invite Hillary to enjoy the world's most beautiful sunset. The Palatine city of the Alhambra is the main Islamic complex in the world. In the Alhambra, you can find a totally unique complex where everything is designed as a reflection of the universe, its laws and beauty. The walls are full of epigrams where poetry, philosophy and their respect to their metaphysical beliefs are written. The palace, gardens and water designs are a mirror of heaven on earth. It is difficult to imagine a more complete universe full of ideas, designs and beauty. Afternoon, we're going to have a unique experience learning the basics of flamenco dance in the prestigious International Mariquilla School. The teacher is Tatiana Garrido, an internationally acclaimed dancer with her own flamenco choreographies that have been represented around the world. For example, in the London Dance House, the Sadler Wells Theatre.
We are receiving an introduction to the world of flamenco thanks to the famous flamenco dancing school, La Mariquilla. In our second session, we will discover the richness and depth of flamenco songs with the help of the wonderful cantaor El Lirola.
Y nos vamos por solear. Vamos allá.
The second day, we review the history of Al-Andalus, the Islamic Spain, visiting the old Muslim neighborhood, El Albaicin, the well-preserved old Muslim neighborhood.
Granada was created just after the year 1000. They were helped to resist the Christian pressure by the Almoravid Empire, and when the domination of the Mauritanian monk warriors collapsed, a new Berber empire, the Almohads, occupied Al-Andalus. We don't have any buildings in the Albaicin from this empire, but from this famous viewpoint, San Nicolas viewpoint, we can admire the magnificent Alhambra, the Palatin city that began to be built when the last Arabic dynasty, the Nasrid, created the extraordinary kingdom of Granada after the Almohad Empire disappeared. Granada was created just after the year 1000, after the division of the Umayyad Caliphate of Cordoba into 30 small kingdoms in the period known as the Taifa realm. We're at the gate or arc of Elvira, which was the main entrance point into the city during the Islamic domination of Al-Andalus. Al-Andalus was the part of Spain under Muslim dominance for 8 centuries. This gate is dated back to the Zirid dynasty. The Taifa realms, such as the Taifa of Granada, seeked help from the Almoravid warrior monks parting from Mauritania to fight the Christian kingdoms. Their austere and Puritan character did not fit in with the sophisticated Al-Andalus, and they only lasted for 60 years, and Al-Andalus was once more again divided into small realms. This gate, the Monaita Gate, is part of the city's fortification complex, built back in the 11th century, forming entrance to the old part of the Islamic city. We're at Dar al-Orra Palace. In the Nasrid period, the last one in the Al-Andalus before the final Christian conquest, apart from the Alhambra, you can find endless palaces in the Albaicin, the Muslim medieval city. Dar al-Orra is a splendid palace, which we find in the upper area of the Albaicin. It was built during this period, and it is mainly known for having been the residence of Aisha, queen and mother of Boabdil, the last sultan of the Nasrid realm. This gateway, which is part of the Zirid wall that surrounds the city, is thought to have been built during the warrior monks' Almoravid Empire period. Designed to throw any enemy forces off balance and to ease communication between the urban core of the city and the uprising Albaicin, This gate owes its name to the fact that rigged weights which were confiscated from merchants were hung above it. Although Granada was the capital of the Almoravid Empire, we almost don't have architectonic remains from that time. Water management was one of the most important developments of Islamic culture. This water cistern, known as the King's Cistern, was built during the Zirid era in the 11th century, and it is considered the largest of its kind in Granada, where water storage systems using cisterns or aljibes have been in use until fairly recently. When Granada was conquered by the Catholic monarchs, the mosques of the city were turned into churches or parishes. This church, San Juan de los Reyes, was originally a mosque where Christian converts gathered and was actually the first place consecrated as a church by the monarchs following the conquest of Granada. We can see the minaret transformed into a bell tower. We are at the main scientific school of Arabic studies. The students are taking a workshop about the Arabic alphabet while learning how to write their own names in Arabic. After this session, we have an interview with some of the school's experts and researchers.
Today, we visit the School of Arabic Studies of the CSIC, the most prestigious scientific center in Spain. Montserrat Benítez, the director of the department, explains the process of expansion of the Arabic language and culture from Damascus to Córdoba and Granada. And Abdul Nur Padillo, a CSIC researcher, explains why the Quranic obligation of looking for knowledge impulses the synthesis of classic Greek philosophy and science and Indian mathematics to produce the Islamic culture explosion.
We are now in the highest mountain range in Spain, Sierra Nevada. During most part of the year, it is covered in snow, and you can practice skiing, snowboarding, but once the snow melts, you can enjoy paradisiac landscapes such as the Caorros Canyon. Come and explore with us.
Granada is in Andalusia, which people associate to sun and beaches. But what most people don't know is that next to what is described as a tropical Mediterranean coast, you can find snow most of the year.
We're at the Equestrian School Mascotario in Granada, where we're going to dive into the horse world and receive an introduction to horse riding. Let's go for a ride.
Not everything was perfect in Al-Andalus. There were pogroms, massacres, raids, cruel exterminations of the population. Jewish people had to wear yellow distinctives during some periods, and at the end of the Kingdom of Granada, the Inquisition was introduced in Spain. We study this repressive institution at this specialized museum.
We're now at the Inquisition Museum. The Inquisition is associated to the Spanish Black Legend, but it actually originated in France. It was designed with the Pope's authorization to fight against the different heresies. In Spain, it had the function of persecuting fake Christians, whether Jewish or Moorish, and to expropriate their properties. In this museum, you will find all the different methods of torture which were used to obtain the confessions of the persecuted.
The last day of our first week, we visit the old city of the Gypsies. we visit the Interpretation Center, where we understand how they traditionally lived here. In the Museum of the Zambra Cave, we meet the legendary Curro Albaicin, who, in addition to being a patriarch of the community, is also a well-known artist, singer, and gypsy history writer. He explained to us how, in the 50s, the gypsy people were expelled from their caves after torrential rains. Most of them never returned, and the caves were occupied by hippies during the flower power times.
You won't truly know Granada until you visit the Sacromonte, the gypsy city in the outskirts where the inhabitants live in caves, surrounded by nature and flamenco music.
When the course is finished, we edit a documentary of the week, usually with all the files recorded by the students. In the 2 or 3 summer week program, the students learn how to edit their films using their own files and scripts, and how to develop a personal brand documentary in the only personalized program in Spain. And of course, they enjoy the nature, mountains and beaches of Granada. Inteligencia educativa. Much more than language courses. 1 week course during the academic year, 2 or 3 week courses during the summer in English or Spanish. Learn filmmaking and audiovisual communication. Personalized program including personal brand videos. Rueda tu película en Granada. Shoot your film in Granada.